Hello there, my friends. So in the last video, I showed you how to teach kids, young kids, and new players, if you want, how to use the three ability system. And I'll just do a recap of that right now. So basically, instead of giving the players all of these 6 abilities, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, we simplified it so that it was just strength. I can't spell strength. And I was talking about how sometimes we use these things to teach the kids how to spell. Strength, dexterity, and intelligence are not the easiest words for kids to spell, so we make them spell them out. So that's one of the things we're teaching is spelling, right? You don't have autocorrect all the time, right? Especially if you're writing without your phone. So I'm trying to do things like as much as possible without the screen. There is a physical mind-body connection, right? That I don't have to get into the physicalness of it or the psychology or the theory behind it. But anyway, I think like instead of typing it, actually writing with your hand does something. So anyway, the ability checks, I use the 4-die method. So that 5, you would roll 4 times. Write down the results of each of those scores, right? Take the lowest one and then add these up. So 5 plus 3 plus 7 is 9, etc. So this will be real quick. 4, 4, 5, 2. Cross out the 2. That's 13. And then intelligence 5, 3, 5, and 2. Cross it out, and that's 13 as well. And then do the ability modifiers. In this case, I believe 9 is -1. This is +1, I think. Anyway, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong about that. But anyway, just to get this started. So basically, that's how you can generate a character and just use these 3 abilities. But if you're leaving out wisdom, charisma, and constitution, then what do you do with like the actual abilities, right? So like these in this box right here on a regular character sheet, since we're not going to use this character sheet and we're going to make the kids write this stuff out, which of these things go into which categories? Now, some of them are pretty obvious. So like acrobatics, for instance, is already dex. So you would just, put dexterity, you would put like acrobatics, right? And then animal handling, though, is wisdom. So what would that be? Well, so for me, I think that pretty much falls under intelligence. So if you're going to like convert these to this system, I would put animal handling under wisdom. Arcana, I think, is obviously intelligence. Athletics is obviously strength. Deception, I think deception is actually intelligence in this case because instead of charisma. And if you don't have charisma, and there's a reason why I don't use charisma in a lot of my classes because of the second syllable in charisma has a meaning for certain kids, especially of a certain age, and they take it to mean something that it doesn't really mean in D&D unless you're a bard. If you get the joke, go ahead and put it in the comments below. So that eliminates that whole thing. History is obviously intelligence. Insight, I think that's intelligence instead of wisdom. Intimidation, I think, is strength instead of charisma. Investigation, that's also intelligence. Medicine, I think there's intelligence. Nature, perception, I think, is intelligence. So there's a lot of things under intelligence here. Performance, I think, would be dexterity. And persuasion, I think, would be intelligence. And religion would be intelligence. And sleight of hand would be dexterity. And stealth would be dexterity. And survival would be maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll throw survival under strength or intelligence. It depends on the situation. And that's the thing, too. Like, a lot of these abilities, you could call as DM under a certain category, right? Depending on the situation. So, for instance, a survival check. If a survival check is, are you going to survive being out there in the wilderness because you're being exposed to the elements, that's more of like a Constitution thing. But since we're not using Constitution, that would fall under strength for me, right? If it's like, do I know how to start a campfire? That's more, do I know how? Intelligence. Can I do it? That's dexterity, right? So maybe it's multiple checks. So that's the kind of thing where, writing all this down, instead of giving kids a character sheet, you can kind of like ask the kids as you go too, like, what are the rules, right? So like they can be part of the rules making process. Obviously, if you're the DM, you're the one that is the final arbiter, but you're a player at the table and you can get the other players involved in the decision-making process. And the point is, I'm teaching kids how to play D&D, so eventually I'm going to teach them how to be a DM because they're going to have to run their own games, right? By the end of my 6-week session, I usually have had them draw maps, and they're going to run their own maps with my help, of course, for the last 2 sessions. So I'll go over that whole like 6-week process in a different video of what I do each week. If you're interested in that, put it in the comments below if you want to know more about my teaching methods and how I do that. I've taught after school, summer camp to kids and new players. I teach at Adventure League at game stores. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to share my wisdom or intelligence in this case on the abbreviated version, the simplified version that I use in order to get kids into the game as fast as possible. Although character creation is a fun part of the game, it's not the only part of the game, and it's fun to use these characters later in developing the characters as part of the process too. So giving them a completed sheet doesn't always do what I want them to do, which is to like develop their characters as they go. So as they write these things down, and we can like introduce them to different situations and different things that occur on the character sheet, they can write that down as it goes. So like, for instance, like when they get supplies, right? When they acquire tools, things of that nature, or if they collect treasure. So yeah, that doesn't all have to happen on day one. This is kind of day one stuff right here, is abilities and the primary characteristics. Excuse my handwriting. I'm trying to do this quickly because, we're all on the internet and everything's quick. But if you could take a moment to like the video if this helped you, and if you have any suggestions to comment, that'd be fantastic. We're up to over 15,100 subscribers on the main channel. And this D&D teaching channel that I'm about to start with these videos, that'll have to start from scratch. So any help you can do there with liking and subscribing would be fantastic. Appreciate your time. I hope you have a great one. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Pittsburgh Pat. Take care.